Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show live. Good to have you with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All the lovely viewers watching all around the world. It's a pleasure to have you here. Of course, I'm your host, Jim Masters. And if you're joining us for the very first time, well, we've done about 245 episodes of our entertainment lifestyle talk show series, the Jim Masters Show Live, where we're bringing inspiration, positive stories, but also great entertainment, guests from television and film, Broadway, Hollywood, music, as well as international guests, folks from health and wellness, science, nature, culinary artists, as well as, my God, we've had sports and comedy and inspirational people, authors, something for everybody. The show, as I've mentioned previously in the many episodes of our series, which we do live every single night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, is all about connecting people. And again, I do this work professionally, as I've mentioned, as a television and radio personality, presenter, host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover narrator. So back in late spring, we turned on the lights, the television lights, built a home studio, and we created a show that sort of harkens back to the talk shows of the past, where we're bringing back that lost art of conversation, like Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, David Susskind, Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, all the classics, all the legends. And then we're sort of, bringing in a modern twist, modern vibe to it as well. Every show is something different. Our viewers come from all around the world. We have an international audience, and we are here to welcome you to the show. Again, it's light, love, levity, or as we call it, lovity. All the viewers call themselves the lovities, because I accidentally said lovity when I slipped up and said love and levity together. And the summertime, and they call this Levity Hall, and they call me Mr. Levity. So, hey, I'll take it. We can use more levity in this world, right? And we've got our mug. We always change our mug or our glass. Today, we're going with the I Dream of Jeannie mug. Mr. TV here. So we'll go with that. And your other friend is here. He'll be watching and enjoying. George Burns is with us as well, in style with his cigar. Talk about television, right? How is everybody? We welcome everybody watching literally from all around the world. We have so many folks here, and it's good to see everybody. Joey and Sherry and Bernadette, Tina, Kathleen, and Tess, LaBella, and everybody is here. Tess is here. Good to see you as well. Good to see you, Tina. Everybody. Bernadette says, welcome to Anson. I told him all about the Lovity story. He says he loves it. He thinks it's really cool. So the minute you guys call him a Lovity, he's going to be all set and ready for it. Good to see you, Linda, in Florida as well. And everybody that's here, let me tell you about our amazing guest. We're very excited to welcome him to the show. He is not only, of course, a brilliant actor, as we know, and a prolific director, but he is a tremendous philanthropist as well. And he's just tremendous. Now, of course, many of you know him originally from Happy Days, playing Potsie Weber on Happy Days. Did you also know he did music too? Yes, he did. We'll talk about all that. Did you also know he wrote a fantastic book? Absolutely. He's got some amazing, amazing stories about his life. But let me tell you again a little bit about our extraordinary guest, Anson Williams. Again, of course, Happy Days star, as well as actor in so many other shows and films and performances, wonderful director, and the list goes on and on. But he is a tremendous philanthropist as well. Of course, American actor, singer, director, best known for the role of Potsie Weber, Warren Potsie Weber, of course, on the television series Happy Days, a role for which he was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor, series, miniseries, or television film. He also a prominent television director as well. Did you know he also worked on shows like Melrose Place and Beverly Hills 90210 and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Lizzie McGuire and The Secret Life of the American Teenager, and much, much more in incredible directorial roles? Absolutely. I mentioned to you earlier that his uncle, too, Dr. Henry Heimlich, who created the Heimlich maneuver. I know a lot of you have been mentioning how that's been a life-saving force in your lives. Of course, he was also on so many other shows, Love American Style, The Love Boat, many different reunion shows with the cast of Happy Days, and so much more. But even the after school specials. Remember those on ABC? Absolutely. Also directing many episodes of shows like The Pretender, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and Xena the Warrior Princess, and Seventh Heaven, the TV series. He played himself in Boy Meets World and a Happy Day theme episode as well. And he's just extraordinary. And he also founded Star Maker Products. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this really cool product that he has. He's a real entrepreneur, philanthropist, but also he likes to give back. And he's got a wonderful story about these alert drops that we're going to talk about, which can really be life-saving when you're getting drowsy, when you're driving. We're going to talk about that and so much more. But again, of course, you remember him for all the different roles over the years, most notably as Potsie on Happy Days, and many, many, many years with the gang, and a beloved show. There he is there. And again, they're the alert drops that we're going to talk about, and really, really, really cool. And a lot of other folks, he's been doing a lot of cool things during the pandemic too, to get creative and to connect with people, which I think is awesome. So let's welcome him live and direct from California, our very special guest, Anson Williams. Anson, thanks for joining us. How are you, my friend?
I feel much better after that introduction. You make me feel great.
That's all you. That's all you. And then some. That was the short list. How are you doing, my friend, during all the craziness of, pandemics and economy and civil unrest? We've been certainly dealing with a lot of different things that have made us pivot and think and reflect on our lives. How about you? How have you been staying connected and creative and sane through everything that we've all been collectively and individually experiencing?
Well, I do realize how cabin fever can set in.
Yes.
Because truly, like you, I get energy being with people.
Yeah.
Every day you kind of have you have that opportunity to connect with your loved ones or just friends or whatever. Just having that kind of opportunity to meet people and the spontaneity of all that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult when that goes away.
Yes.
It's at least for me. It's a big change in your lifestyle, and I understand how that affects so many. You're used to going to work from so much. Your work, everything changes, and that can be quite depressing. However, yeah. I found out it also can be uplifting. You go back to basics. I've always been one to see what I have, not what I don't have. It's very easy to see what you don't have. That's easy. It's much healthier to see what you have. And you'll be amazed how much opportunity you have when you're appreciative of finding what's good, what you do have. And so that's what I've been dealing with. I'm lucky. Right now I'm in Ojai, California. I can hike. I can get out. I can do things. I can write. I be creative. I can still connect through the internet, through the phone, whatever, yeah. And still help, do something positive. So I find by finding positive things to do, it's helped me so much through this, yeah. Through this whole craziness. And what I try to do, at least where I can, online or with people, I try to give them that same inspiration. Hey, it's the greater good will come out of this, and I really believe that. I mean, what's horrible are the unnecessary deaths.
Yeah.
That would have happened, and I don't mean to get political, with a hell of a lot better,
but
hell of a lot better kind of leader. But I consider all those people, 400 and some thousand people. I think they all should have the Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yes.
Well, I won't get into it, but
no, but it's true. It's true.
I'm not going to get into it. As far as politically, what was great is, Ron Howard's still a great friend, and Henry Winkler and Donna Mills and Cindy Williams. We all got together and not even being able to see each other, but we were able together to put on this special show and help President Biden win Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. You know, we were able to raise enough money with a special event, and Ron put it all together, and that was fantastic. We could do something so positive, you know, with what looks like such a limited situation,
right?
But it's still brought about, you know, something we could be so proud of. And I told my daughters, I said, hey, listen, you know, I said, you're 18, you're 19 now, you're 22 now. You're write up why you want President Biden for president. Right? What do you want in your life, kid? Tell me. And you know what they said? They wrote a little letter, and they said, we feel now President Biden has happy days in his heart. He cares about and this is not an educated group in politics. They just felt connected,
right?
And someone cared about them, and I was able to read that letter, and it got tremendous amount of response. And something, how do you feel historically? You actually did something, that actually echoed out to the world. Kids, you should be so proud of what you did and how it affected a positive outcome. I really, do you understand what this means? You understand your voice was heard?
Right.
I said, remember that in your life. Remember that in your life. Have your voice heard, but have your voice heard for the greater good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is fantastic. You know, as a dad, that must make you feel incredibly proud.
Yeah. Well, it's the next generations, you know. I mean, I just want them to have in their character, you know, believe me, we're born to be givers, not takers. We really are. Our innate sense is to give. It really is. You feel, because you feel so good.
Right.
You know, it's our natural existence. But somehow, you know, we get on the societal platform, things get screwed up. You can get greedy. It's almost like Pinocchio's island. It's like too much sugar, you're going to grow a tail.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to balance out your life. You got to be a giver before a taker. Not a fool, you know, but when you can help, and you help, you do it. Whatever the smallest thing, you do it. And I want them to have that kind of character. I want them to, you know, think outside of themselves.
Right.
And honestly, and your life is going to be so much better. So much better. You know, you're gonna have a joyous day every day.
I know that you've always been great at, and I love people that do that, and I do the same thing, at sort of tipping your hat and paying homage to people in your life who have either mentored you, inspired you along the way. And you've had a couple of people in your life who, I know, working with Ron Howard, of course, Garry Marshall, instrumental. But even before that, working in sort of a department store in Burbank when you were a kid, Willie Turner. Tell us about this man who some people watching might not know about, but for you was instrumental in terms of being somebody inspiring and mentoring to young Anson.
Yeah, well, I always say, you know, that one person that's going to maybe turn your life around to make your life, it's not going to be the billionaire or the movie star, you know, or the big shot. It's going to be just some person that just connects with you. Hello?
Yeah, there you are. Speaking of connects.
I'm so sorry. So anyway,
full moon.
I grew up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, look good, sound good.
Okay.
You're talking about Willie and inspiration.
Growing up, it was like not poor, but lower middle class.
Yeah.
Little house, one bathroom, and I had to work since I was 12 years old. I mean, for anything, you know, it was just a number in the world. Right. And in high school, I got a job at Leonard's department store as an assistant janitor part-time while going to school. And my boss was Willie Turner. And he was an African-American man in his, I guess, mid-50s, a functioning alcoholic. Yeah. Not that educated, but a prophet. And at the time, I was really a very insecure kid because of my own upbringing, very insecure. I mean, that's why maybe I'm so sensitive to, especially young people today, to make them feel better about who they are, because I so desperately needed that growing up.
Right.
And so I get this job, and he's my boss, and I really thought I'd get fired the next day, or that at the end of that day. And I finished the day. He called his janitorial room the talk room, and he had 2 oil drum cans in the middle of the middle of the room, and he was one of the first people that talked to me, not at me. And I thought, well, here it comes. I'm gonna get fired. I didn't do a good job. He tells me, "You did good, boy. You did good. This is gonna work out fine."
Yeah.
So that started this mentorship. And again, he talked to me, not at me. He helped me find me. Every day, I worked maybe 15 hours a week, going to school. Every time, I always felt better about myself. And all these other people would come in the room. He had friends all over the city that would come and talk to him. And I walked out. When I finished that job, I knew who I was, where I was going, and what I was going to do with the confidence to do it. And that was Willie Turner. And I've got really quite an exceptional story that's crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
That brought Willie Turner to the Oval Office of the White House. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Willie died when I was 19, so he never saw my success. But he had on the wall taped on the wall of the talk room this little poem. This poem. And he found it when he used to, he was delivering refrigerators and taking out old ones. And it was just posted on inside an old refrigerator. And he loved the poem, and he kept it, and he lived by it. And so years later, Ron Howard and I are, well, first of all, we had a script in development, and it dealt with the East Wing of the White House. And we had the opportunity of going to Washington to go to the East Wing to meet with the press secretary during President Reagan's term. And they asked, the press secretary asked at the end if we'd like to see the president. Oh my gosh, they take us to the West Wing, he's gone. But his secretary at the time let us into the Oval Office. Ron and I alone in the Oval Office, by ourselves. And before cell phones, before anything like that.
Wow.
And I look at Ron and I go, remember everything.
Yes.
Remember everything. I said, you know what we are?
Soak it up.
We're by ourselves in the Oval Office. And we're walking around, and I'm looking at the Remington Remington sculptures. And there was that beautiful desk, right? And I'm going around, and there's this funky looking plaque that's standing up on the desk. They look out of place, old and kind of whatever. But I go, that's weird. Pristine desk, this funky looking plaque standing up. Just as I start to look at it, we hear, psst, psst, come on. There's the secretary. You got to go now. So I never got a chance to see it. 20 years later, when President Reagan died, they had all these, retrospectives and things on television. And they had a rerun of Nancy Reagan taking you through the museum, the Reagan Museum. And when I clicked in, and here's the Oval Office, exactly how Ronnie had it when he was president. And we still have some of, and we have our, and he goes, and we have all these items that were there that were Ronnie's, but let me show you the most important one Ronnie never was without. When he was SAG president, when he was governor of California president, he said he would never make a phone call without reading this. There's a replica of the desk with the funky plaque on it. Yeah, I'm going, I'm finally going to know what this is about.
Yeah.
She picks it up, and it was an Irish poem. And basically and you probably can go online and even read it. And basically it said, you can climb any mountain, there's nothing you can't do as long as you don't get the credit. It was a poem about being selfless, and what you want to do is bigger than you. And he said, same poem Willie had on the wall. So
it's like
I'm going, President of the United States, Willie Turner. Same inspiring poem he read every day, and he lived by it.
Yeah.
So, but that was Willie. So, yeah, I said, never judge anybody. That just might be the magic for your entire life.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Color of the skin, gender, income, none of it, because, you know, we're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. We all have something to do and say and contribute, right?
Prejudice it's ridiculous. I hope I can say this story. I mean, even Willie, you know, inspired in me. I actually had an argument with someone way back during Happy Days. And it was really someone who's very prejudiced and didn't think, they thought that, well, you know, African Americans should stay with themselves, Jewish people should stay with themselves, Latinos should stay with them. And I go, really? I got so upset.
Yeah,
said, really?
Sure.
You really think that's the way our creator wanted this? You don't think that's like, we have the sick ability to create this kind of prejudice, which is not the natural law of life. So I said, let me ask something. Can donkeys have children with goats? He goes, no. I go,
right.
Well, yeah. Can elephants have children with horses? No, why? I go, well, why? Well, they're not supposed to. Then how come, fool? How come whether you're black, white, yellow, tan, how come we all can have perfect babies? How come genetically it all works together, man? Are you kidding? I said, you're a fool. It's like, you know, we're not meant to be apart. If we were meant to be apart, we could not have babies together. We could not interact like that. I said, if there's any proof in the world that prejudice is made up and by societal standards, there it is. My opinion.
That's true. Right. Absolutely. Right. You were right. You were right. And early on too, realizing that it's so important to go through life with that and that understanding and that appreciation. And I've been saying too, you know, I'm hoping that through everything we've been going through with the COVID and you know, the health situation, economy, political, the civil unrest, all of it, that we sort of rise from the ashes more empathetic, more compassionate, more unified, less divisive, less hatred, violence, and we listen to each other more. Because right now everybody's talking but people aren't listening. And the world spins a lot smoother on its axis when we are together and there's more empathy and kindness. And it's not Pollyanna to say any of that. It's not, you know, the time period when Happy Days was on type of thinking. No, that's the way life really should be in terms of how we treat each other, right?
It's a natural law. Thomas Jefferson said that they were talking about God, and you know, and he liked separation of church and state and all. He said it's in us. He said it's in us. He said we feel it. We know good and bad. And he said life is, quote, cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Every action has a reaction. If it's good, it's right. If it's bad, don't put your finger in the fire again.
Right.
You know, learn from your actions. He said that's our creator. That is inside you, right and wrong. And and this hate, and this is just so wrong. It's like can't you see it? Can't you see it? It doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just it's a developed mindset, whether it's from your upbringing or whatever. But it's I don't even call it ignorance. I just call it I don't know what's ignorance when you never have the opportunity to know any different, whatever that word is.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Not misinformed, not informed. Right.
Uninformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be very dangerous, right? Because then you sort of follow whatever seems to be the in thing at the moment. And that can be, as we've seen, in recent events, that can be really, really devastating to a society.
January 6th, it was just, I'm looking at my kids going, you got to be kidding me. I don't even want to get into it, but
Right,
no,
true, yeah.
It's not right, and it's not positive, and it's not productive. And but I do feel with all this pain, I think a phoenix will rise. I really do.
Yes.
I think it's going to dramatically change the direction. I really feel it. It's dramatic, and I think it's going to balance out. And maybe I'm hoping there's some huge purpose for all the sacrifice.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping too. It's definitely a teachable moment, a learning moment for all of us too, because a lot of people have been reassessing their careers, their relationships, their lives. They've been pivoting. They've been looking at, in the mirror. They've been forced to look in the mirror now to say, okay, do I like what I see? What do I want to do next? Have I been serving, things that sort of make me happy as well? And that's very important to do that. And this has certainly been a pivot moment. People are really having to pivot in so many different ways. Have you had to do any pivoting as well? Taking a look at the things you want to do going forward, Anson?
I haven't thought about that literally, but I feel, it simplified me a lot. I mean, I thought it was already pretty basic, but it didn't reprioritize me, but it just brought all the basic important purposes of living right. I mean, just even so much more clearly. I felt more right about my choices.
Exactly right, which is terrific. And one of those early on was to be on Happy Days. How did that all happen? And tell us a little bit about some of maybe those inspirations in your life as a kid that led you to something like an amazing series like Happy Days. Were you performing in plays in school? Were you always, an entertainer, family? I know, like you mentioned, it was more of a blue collar, hardworking family, not necessarily, steeped in the entertainment business. You sort of you lived where it was all around you, but yet you had to carve it out. What was it like for you initially in terms of the inspiration and some of those early breaks where people noticed, hey, this kid's got chops, he's really good, leading up to the Happy Days scenario?
Well, I was again. I really feel that we really have innate destinies in us, but when we're a lot of times when we're born and brought up, our family, society unplugs you from your natural place, and you start conforming to what people want you to be instead of really knowing who you are. And I don't know. I kind of had that same upbringing, but something was powerful in me, leading me toward entertainment. The odds of me making anything were zero. Literally, I could have been from Iowa, Nebraska, Oklahoma. I walked out the door, and I said, I just have this feeling I want to be in entertainment. And of course, it was performing. That was the first part of it. But I always wrote too. But I didn't know where to go. I had no idea. And one thing led to another. I started standing in non-equity lines for theater. That means unprofessional. The unprofessional line. When you get a job in theater with a union, it's equity. So the non-equity line is hopefully you get a shot at getting hired and become an equity participant. And I just started doing that. And I had singing training. I never had an acting class in my life. And one thing led to another. I mean, I remember there was this one audition. I just stood in line for hours and then on equity line. It was really hot. And I finally got in there, and by the way, I couldn't dance at all. I am the worst dancer literally. I have no gift. I'm lucky I can walk.
Yeah.
So I get in there and I go in there and it's intimidating as heck. The Masonic temple, this huge echoing thing, and there's 4 grumpy people looking at you while you sing your 8 bars.
Yeah.
You coach the blues right out of the horn name. Sort of, and I'm seeing all these people in and out, in and out, in and out. All of a sudden I'm there. I forget the words. I'm making up words. I'm scared to death. They're hysterical. They're hysterical. They're left. And I got through the whole song.
Wow.
Through the tears, they said, "Do you dance?"
Mm.
Oh, do I? Sure. Good. There's a call. Wait outside. We're having the callbacks, and we're going to do a dance audition. So I got through the first part. Just by they said, you know, you sing okay, but you got something, kid. Can you dance? I go, yeah, sure. So we go in this other room, and the callbacks are there. Now I'm with the equity guys. Now I'm with everybody. And they're doing some Bob Fosse thing. You know, I got choreographers there going 3, 4, 5, 8, 2, 2, 5. And I'm going, holy crap. I'm in the back just going, there's no one. I mean, literally, it's like twist and turn and go.
Yeah.
And boop, jump. Oh boy, this ain't happening.
This might be a problem. Yeah.
I get in there. And I thought, you know that? Remember Barbara Streisand in Funny Girl?
Oh yeah.
When she was with her skating thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was me. I was like, what the heck? So I went there. I didn't pretend I could dance. I just was funny. They'd go up, I'd go down. They're hysterical again. They're laughing hysterically. Anyway, they said, you sing okay. You can't dance at all, but you got something, kid. Would you take an apprentice job? I go, I said, a job? Yeah. He said, you get $50 a week, $25 goes to the hotel, and the rest you live on, and we own you. We own you. You're in this. I said, you're going to pay me?
Hmm.
And he goes, yeah, but we're not giving you an airplane ticket. We're going to give you with another apprentice. You guys are we'll give you the gas, but you drive to Wichita, Kansas. And that was my first. So I was Wichita, Kansas, and summer stock. Peter Marshall and Gail Storm, and back then they owned us 15 hours a day. If we weren't in the show, we were building sets down, whatever.
Yeah.
But the prize was an equity card at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a professional.
Yeah.
Which means now I can stand in the equity line.
Right.
And that started my career. That started the whole thing.
So from there, how did Hollywood then call? How did that opportunity start to happen? We're like, okay, you know, he's done, summer stock, he's done theater and things of that nature. We see him perfectly suited for television and things of that nature.
No,
not quite.
No, Hollywood never called.
They never called
them. No, I called them. That's what I want to. By the way, this is a good, maybe an inspiring story for everyone in their own lives, whatever profession.
Yes.
I stood in line for a show called Victory Canteen in the equity line, right? And whatever. And it's Hollywood, the Ivar Theater. It was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it was a replacement job because the guy whose character I was auditioning for had to go on vacation. So I would take over for 2 weeks and then be understudy and then assistant stage manager. So by the grace of God, I got the job. I had 48 hours to learn an entire musical, an original, written by the Sherman Brothers.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Mary Poppins and all that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I'm thinking, this is it. They're going to see me. I'm in Hollywood. And the cast are laughing. I go, the only people that come here are retirement homes. Nobody's coming here. Yeah, right. They're right.
Yeah.
Retirement. That was it. That was like, I said, was that an applause? I don't know. And, so then I thought, well, if they don't come here, I'm going to the mountain. So there were big agencies back then, International, IFA, CMA, William Morris, way back then. Well, IFA was closest. So I went to IFA, parked blocks away because I couldn't afford went up to the 5th floor, walked in there, and did a sit-down strike till an agent saw me. I said, I'm in the show. And they, sir, you don't have an appointment. Sir, I go, you're lost. And I just sat there and waited and waited and waited. And after a couple hours, this guy in a suit comes out from a side door and goes, "Hey, come here, kid." And I go up to him and he said, "Yeah, we heard this kid's a real pain in the neck out here." I said, "Are you an agent?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm start selling him. You got to come to the show." He goes, "Would you be quiet? Come in here." So it turned out there was an audition for a segment of Owen Marshall Counselor at Law, which is a television series at the time. And the guest stars were young high school football players. And they didn't have a lot of clients that were over 18 that looked high school. He asked me if I was a good actor. It was kind of like dancing. I said, "Oh, sure. So he said, "You're very lucky, kid, because, I'm going to send you out on this audition." He said, you got to, and it's Universal Studios. John Epstein is the producer. He goes, if you get the part, we'll sign you, because we don't have a lot of people over 18 that look high school. I go, great. So I got it. I did it. I got an audition from off the street. So I go down there the next morning. I'll never forget the Black Tower, they call it, at Universal.
Yeah.
Very intimidating. Walk in there. Oh, first thing I went, back then you had to go early and get your sides. So you had to read. And I'm going, now remember, I never had an acting class in my life. And I am playing this high school football player who dies on an overdose of drugs, and it's the death scene. All right. I'm going,
Yeah.
I'm screwed. I am so screwed. So I'll never forget, they opened up this huge office with this shag carpeting like this. Ooh, it felt good walking through it.
Yeah.
So we get there, and there's a casting director reading, John Epstein, and some guy they hadn't even introduced me to, kind of quirky looking guy, just walking around and looking. So I read the scene, and I die good. I went, this is good. I can act. I died good. I got the job, directed by Steven Spielberg. It turned out he had already done Duel.
Oh, yeah.
And but John Epstein was his friend. The director dropped out, and as a favor, was the last thing Spielberg ever directed. He didn't own. Probably his last television thing ever. And the agency signed me, and they actually came down to see Victory Canteen. Hollywood finally came to the show, but it all happened because I kind of broke them up because I went with my gut.
Yeah.
I'll go to the mountain, and I think, and that's been pretty helpful in a lot of endeavors in my life. Yeah. And I think it helps a lot of people out there. Don't be a victim. Move forward. Just move forward. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're doing the right thing, and it's in your heart, and it's positive, do it. That's what's going to give it. You make your breaks.
Right. You really, really do. You can't just sit and wait for everything to come your way. You have to get out there and keep doing your thing and brush certain things off as they come along. And not everything's always going to work. There's a lot of rejection and, so many different elements that people don't always see all the time. They just see the glitz and glamour. But then, of course, does come Happy Days, which, of course, was really such a launch pad in so many different ways. How did that happen? Was it Garry Marshall that saw you, or who saw you to say, that's Potsie Weber right there?
Oh, well, again, I found them.
You found them.
Yeah. Well, no, what happened was, but I had my agent.
Yeah.
And there was an audition for Happy Days.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 pilots for Happy Days.
Yes, I had heard that.
Right. This was the first one. And this one didn't have Fonz in it, didn't have Ralphie in it. A different Mr. Cunningham, a different Joanie.
Yeah.
But so, and then they aired it on Love American Style, So, So anyway, so I have the audition. It happened to be just a awful day, just pouring rain. And I had this old car, and it just clunked out. And back then there were no cell phones or anything, so I had to walk to a payphone and then wait hours for the auto club, right? I mean, because there's so many cars drowned. So by the time all this was done, I looked like a drowned rat. I mean, literally like a drowned rat. It's been hours, and I'm hours late for this interview. And I thought, well, forget it.
That's
and
it.
something inside me said, no, just keep going.
Right.
They got the car started. So I get to Paramount Studios. I think I was like at least 3 hours late, maybe more. And I got to the gate and I go in there and I go into Millie Gussie's office, who was head of casting, television casting. And I talk to the receptionist. I'm so sorry. My car broke down. It was raining. And she just yells, Anson Williams is here. And I hear this gruff voice. He's lucky we haven't found a Potsie. I go, what's a Potsie?
What's a Potsie?
So anyway, and she says, give him some sides. So I read these sides. I'm reading the sides. I go, oh, this is like my friend Howard Schurzman. This is Howie. So I played Howie, right? So I go in there. There's Millie Gussie. Sit down. She has a cigarette in her mouth like this. Sit down. So I read it like Howie. She goes, sit here. She goes in the other room. I hear her voice echoes everywhere. All I hear is, he's perfect. Get down here. He's perfect. He's perfect. I don't care if you're in wardrobe. He's perfect. So then she says, wait outside. I wait outside. A few minutes later, this tired guy comes in named Garry Marshall, kind of walks in, and then I go back in and I read for Garry Marshall. And he doesn't say good, bad, or anything. He just said, do you play Spaceball? I go, yeah. And I can say, yeah, that I'm good at. He goes, what did you play? I go, I play first base. He goes, why? You play any other positions? I play first base. I go, I play any position. Good to know. Thank you. Go wait outside. That was it. It was a baseball audition. So I wait outside and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And finally, all these people come in with like suits. The network, I didn't even know what the network was. They walk in, I go in, then Ron Howard comes. Because he was already cast as Ritchie. So the two of us read together, and I'm all impressed. Ron Howard, I mean, he was a star. So I'm all impressed. And we go in there. I read. Network's laughing. They go, thanks a lot. I go, thanks a lot? I go, I'm upset. I'm driving home going, look, I waste my time. I come on down here. What a day. I don't get the job. I get home to my little apartment, and I hear their phone's ringing. Phone's ringing, and I pick it up. She goes, where were you? Where were you? I go, what are you talking? I just got back. It's you got the job. You got to be there tomorrow morning for wardrobe and the shooting the next day. I go, what?
Yeah.
So that was it. I got the job. We shot the pilot. Oh, it's good. Didn't sell. Year later, American Graffiti came out.
Yeah.
And Grease came out. And 50s was kind of hot.
Yeah.
And decided to do another pilot. This time, Ron Howard and I had to screen test because they thought we just didn't get the parts. They thought we might be too old. Mm. We got the parts again. The rest is history. Mm. You know. Then it became one of the most phenomenal shows ever on television because of a lot of people. And I was just lucky enough to be part of that. But that's how it happened, man. I look back, it all happened by not waiting. It happened by always moving forward, making opportunity.
Right. Exactly. Did you or any of the cast ever think it would turn into the hit that it became and so beloved, a treasured television sitcom that is revered even to this day?
No idea. We thought it'd be like, it would be popular for a while because it was trendy at the time because 50s was such a big deal. We never thought it would become what it became. And it became that. It's very interesting because Garry was very collaborative. Yeah. And he used Paramount in the set like a college. Right. And he said he cared about us as people, which is rare in show business. Yeah. Between showrunners and actors. He cared, and he said, you might not be actors all your life, especially you, Anson. He said you should learn some things here. Wear many hats. Learn a lot about the business. And that's why that's why we're all still contributing. directing, writing, we're all still involved. And
Yes.
it's all because of Garry Marshall, because we were diversified. We didn't depend on one thing.
Right.
And he also created an environment of friendship. Garry was a giver before a taker. And we kind of, went that way. Here were these young guys, and he never allowed us to get big for our britches. He only allowed us to be contributors to the show, and all of us contribute to the show. Everybody had something that became a magical part of that show. I mean, a real part of it. I mean, I convinced him to put music on. I convinced him to put the band on. I convinced him to let me sing. Again, that was entrepreneurial, because you didn't make money back then the way you did today at all. Nowhere near. I mean, you did okay, but you weren't going to get rich at all.
Yeah.
And David Cassidy, I knew how well he did singing on Partridge Family, and I even talked to him once. He said, I do so much better off the show than on the show. So I convinced Garry to put music on the show, to give me a shot. But he made me sing to a bulldog, because I didn't even audition. He says, if you're good, he goes, you're going to sing? Yeah, it's a good idea, band, yeah. But you're singing to a bulldog, like Elvis did on Ed Sullivan. And he says, that way, I believe you're good. I believe you. But if you're not, I'll get a laugh. If you're good, I'll get a laugh. You're singing to a bulldog. So I'm singing I'm all shook up to a bulldog my first time on national television. He liked it. He said, it's good. We'll do it every some shows. We'll do it like about every third show. He says, but I don't have time. You pick the songs. You talk, you pick the songs. So I had a job. I got to pick all my songs. And then I don't want to get into money, but just to show you in terms of maybe inspiring people in all their other careers. I don't care if you're a plumber, electrician, teacher. There's opportunity there, man. There's opportunity to go above and beyond. Right. And so I was getting like, I got signed because I sang on the show. I got signed by David Cassidy's record label, Chelsea Records, and I started getting booked, state fairs and all that. So I'd be making $1,200 an episode, like that, and $17,000 a night singing.
Yeah, big difference.
Out of.
Yeah.
No, and Garry came up to me. You did good. You don't bitch. You found opportunity. You found good. You don't complain. And that's exactly what I was saying. Like, even during this pandemic, find out what you have, not what you don't have. There's plenty you don't like, but there's opportunity right in front. There is opportunity right there.
Right there.
Open to it.
Absolutely. And you've always been open to that. And that's that opportunity to have Garry sort of allow you to tag along and watch the master do his thing was very, very influential for you. And you guys, I know in studying the show, you guys worked very hard, like 17-hour days. And sometimes the shooting was sort of piecemeal, and it was as smooth as it always looks. You guys really worked hard.
Well, we did. Actually, for a while. The first year and a half, it was one camera, which is like a movie. And it's hours and hours. When you do a movie, different scenes, different, every day, it's very complex. Yeah. And it's grueling. But then going into the second and a half, like almost three seasons into it, we switched to live audience, free camera. That was a treat. That's like Broadway. So then no makeup. You would just rehearse every day, like a play. Right. And we all thought we earned it, man. After these 17-hour days for 1.5 years, this is great. And then it was just a lot of fun because you're not stuck. If something didn't work, you just fixed it. And so every day you're making it better and better and better. It's very collaborative, And it made us closer to the writers. We actually learned more because we were much closer to the whole process. Mm-hmm. We can go to the rewrites. And it was a great education for us, how these creative minds worked. Yeah. Because we were all there at the same time. What was it like? And then we'd have a run through. And we have notes. And so it was just a wonderful, just a gift of being able to collaborate and just make things better and better and better. So and the energy was so, just so wonderful, addictive. Yeah. It's just a creative nirvana.
You know, that translated in watching the show. It seemed to have an energy and an authenticity to it where you guys mutually respected each other and really enjoyed working with one another.
Oh
And
yeah,
there was a certain juice to it that was in watching it every week when it would come
yeah,
on ABC. It just had this sort of energy. And following you, of course, was Laverne and Shirley.
yeah.
Same thing. They had Penny and Cindy. There's this energy and spunk about it too. That was some powerhouse hour. Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley on ABC,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that was, and they were like 20 feet over on the next stage. In fact, I think Ron and I did 3 episodes together when they were first on as crossovers,
Right.
to help get them going. And then they became bigger than us.
That's what happened.
They did. They took over the #1 spot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Was Brady Bunch still there at that time, or some of the
Brady
remnants
Bunch
of
was
them?
there the first year Happy Days.
First year of Happy
And
Days.
I actually went on the set.
You did, huh?
Because I was yeah. It was their last year.
Yeah.
Our first year was their last year. Also, The Odd Couple. I learned a lot. I would go watch. It was last year, The Odd Couple, and I would go to The Odd Couple and watch Klugman and Randall, who are like geniuses in comedy.
Yeah.
And when I wasn't working, because it was all one camera back then. When I wasn't working, I would spend the day watching them rehearse.
My God.
Their Odd Couple show. I mean, it was what a.
That's yeah.
Anytime I was allowed, maybe you'd work 2-3 days a week, for your scenes, 17 hours. But even the days off, I shadowed John Schlesinger in Day of the Locust. I shadowed Roman Polanski when he did Chinatown on the back lot. I watched all the musical numbers they shot at the studio in Greece. That was my education, man. I mean, I'm with the guy. I'm going.
Yeah.
It was called The Real Master Class.
That was it, right?
And Schlesinger would get so pissed at me. I keep asking all these questions. He's English. He goes, "Hey, you're annoying." I'm all fascinated, man.
You're all
Everything's miniature.
Yeah.
How do you make it look real? I mean,
How do
they
you
had
do it?
Hollywood Boulevard. They literally had Hollywood Boulevard, but like half side or whatever, and 2 stages. They with tarps over it. I go, how do you do this?
How do you do this? Yeah.
How do you do this? And what an education. But Garry Marshall made that available.
Yeah.
So like he said, use this. It's a college. Use this. Educate yourself. That's what's going to keep you in for the long run. You don't get involved. Don't be so involved with yourself. Educate yourself. Get out there and if somebody connects with you, I'll open every door for you. And he thought of it as a classroom. I mean, who gets that opportunity? And I feel like even when I'm directing, I really try to forward Garry with all these. When I was doing Secret Life for all those years,
right?
Shailene Woodley and I really try to push forward those same lessons, and to hopefully inspire that they're going to take this and use it and create more opportunity for themselves.
That's amazing. And I think it's so cool that you really early on, I've always been like that too, just soaking it all in and mesmerized by how it's all done and the people that make it happen and pay homage to those who've created these opportunities for us to do what we do. Because a lot of times you have younger actors who get so wrapped up in just the glitz and the show of it that they lose track of who they are. And then even when a show eventually comes to an end, everything comes to an end, even though this was many years with Happy Days, but still eventually things come to an end, you're sort of outfitted for the next thing because you've already been doing that along the way. You even, did you ever, was it a restaurant chain or you got involved in restaurants early on too?
Yeah, well, that actually was my
real
education.
entrepreneur.
That was my education in business of what not to do, because I had never had classes. That was my PhD in business by almost losing everything. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mistakes will educate you.
They will.
But thank God it worked out. But that gave me the education of, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of reasons.
Sure.
But that really gave me the tools to be successful in the product business. You know,
Yes.
I learned my lesson, and my biggest lesson was, if you can't control it, don't do it. If you don't have the work ethic, don't do it. You better know what you're doing. Don't depend on other people, because depend on people you trust, you hire, but make sure you know what they know. And
right.
protect yourself by being educated in whatever arena you're participating in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Always learn about what everybody else around you is doing and the reason
You
for
bet.
it, and respect it too,
You
because
bet.
everybody has a purpose.
You bet.
And that's so incredibly essential. Couple of our fantastic international Lovity viewers have a couple of questions here. Are there any, Christine in North Carolina, USA says, are there any memorable moments you'd be comfortable in sharing of times on or off the set with maybe Henry Winkler, Ron Howard, or just a fun story from the Happy Days time?
Well, there's actually two pretty cool stories. Well, one is not a story. It's another part of Garry Marshall and what he felt was important. There's one. Okay, the set story is this. The set story. It was first 1974. Yeah, first year of Happy Days. Was it 73? No, 74. We were, again, it was those 17-hour days, and there's not a lot of us working that day, and it's cold out, it's gray out. We're on this cold set. It's early morning, and it was just Henry was there, I was there, Donnie was there, Ron was there, guest star, and our director. And so I go over to get some coffee, and there's this big old tin, not like craft service of today. It was just old apples and a tin of coffee. And I see this man and a young kid. I go back to the set. Donnie's there. I say, Don, God, there's this guy with these kind of sunglasses, and this little kid. I said, you look just like John Lennon. And Donnie goes, oh yeah, John Lennon came to hang out on the set with us. It was John Lennon with his son Julian.
Wow.
And it was Julian's favorite show. No one told us he was going to be on this. No one said anything. It was John Lennon. He spent the day with us, with Julian. And the nicest, kindest. It got to the point where we're so comfortable with him. He's doing all these little original doodles for the crew, signing John. They can buy a house with them now. Not us. No, we're professionals. We don't ask for anything. But we had, they called PR. We got one picture together. So we have that picture of all of us together. But spending the day with John Lennon and his son Julian back then was pretty terrific. I mean, that was pretty terrific.
Yeah.
And then the other moments, as far as this, it wasn't the moments on the set. It was very important for Garry to have a softball team. Remember, baseball was incredibly important to him. He felt if you have a team, you're always going to back up your teammates. And he really thought it would come to the set too. Plus, he just loved playing ball. And he thought, what an opportunity. So we put together a softball team. We're all ex-jocks. And we started playing charity games before the big games in every major park in America. Yankee Stadium, Brewer Stadium, Dodger Stadium, you name it. We were there in the locker rooms playing our games. And then we went into for the USO, we played softball games again in Okinawa, in Germany, all over the place against the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and we played these big. And those were the times, those moments. And we're in Würzburg, Germany, and in Würzburg, Germany, there's a castle on a hill. It's 1,000 years old with all the original armor and stuff like that. They turn it into a restaurant, and at the table, instead of having water dispensers, they have wine dispensers. We're feeling pretty good.
Kind of nice.
There's Ron Howard, Donnie, Henry, and me singing Splish Splash out over this castle on this balcony to the town of Würzburg, looking at the Rhine River. Right? But those are memories you can't make up. Those are like one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
There's so many stories like that.
Yeah.
That really resonate when we think of just the memorable times we had.
Did the cast over the years tend to stay close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still, I mean, look, like I just said, like just not that long ago, we all got together for the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
For President Biden.
Mm,
we were still there, you know. Oh yeah, and we're always texting every week. And Ron's in Australia right now doing a new movie, and he had to be you know, isolated for 14 days, and
yeah,
you know, so he's getting
quarantine.
kind
Yeah.
of bored, and we're like texting, and now he's starting his film back there. Henry, he's all, you know, I mean, you know, Henry, I mean, my God, he's blown. I mean, he got the Emmy for Barry, and he's got this beautiful new book coming out, and he also produces MacGyver, and he's doing
Right.
You know, so many things, but yet we're all a bit limited now. And Donnie is actually my best friend. He lives very
Yeah.
close to me,
Yeah.
so I miss him a lot because we can't get together anymore. But we would see each other every week, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You and Don most are close, right? Exactly.
yeah, we are.
And you've worked on some projects together even recently, right?
Yeah, show called Harvest Time.
Right.
Pretty interesting. It was a neat little show to do. It was challenging. It was very challenging, really different. And we thought it would be cool if we played totally different characters in a totally different genre. It's still comedy, but very dark comedy. Would this chemistry be there? Would it still work? Would people accept us as different characters? So it was a great experiment. I was able to direct that too. But Donnie helped a lot with my acting because I was Don's a consummate pro,
Yeah.
and I'm okay. So, but he actually pretty much directed my performance because I didn't trust my instincts. But yeah, it's called Harvest Time. If you go on YouTube and look up Harvest Time and either put Don's name in or my name in, it'll come up. And it turned out to be a pretty well received show.
When you were back on Happy Days, I know in the beginning when you guys were working these long hours and really putting everything together, one of the first times I think that you got a chance to go out to a public scenario where there were fans and everybody was there. It was like something along the lines of 50,000 people there. And I think that's probably when you realized we've got something here, huh?
Well, I don't think it was. We've had gigs where it was 50,000, but I think then it was small 30,000. No, what happened was it was so funny. At the beginning of Happy Days, they were behind in episodes, so we didn't even see the light of day.
No.
For weeks, we're like just working.
Yeah.
We had no idea the popularity. Literally, we'd leave our houses at night, come home at night, and no idea the popularity at all. We're just exhausted. And finally, they were able to shut down for 2 weeks. And we were going on a media tour. And the first place was Houston. And Ron was good. And Ron had something else to do. So he and I went together. Donnie and Henry split up after Houston. And then Ron and I went together. And then we all met again on the Mike Douglas show in Philadelphia. So anyway, but it was the three of us going to Houston. Henry, Don, and me. And we go, oh my God, first class. Woo, champagne. Woo.
Yeah.
We land in Houston and we look out. There's this limousine. We're going, oh, that's for you guys on the tarmac. I go, us? So we're beginning to get the idea. So we get this limousine on the tarmac way before 9/11, right? But we had to go right from there. We were going to this event, and the event was at an amphitheater in some park. It was a fashion show thing or something. But we were just, I don't know what. We're supposed to go there, go on stage, and go, hi, blah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then leave. And we're driving. And remember, we're three schmucks that weeks before, no one knew us. So we're driving, and I go, and I look ahead, and I just see these masses of people outside the amphitheater. And I'm looking at Henry, he goes, wow, look, yeah. God, there must be something big going on. You know, there must be something big going on. God, a concert, something. All of a sudden they turn and there's screams. It was us. They come in, they start bopping the limousine. They take us out. It's like it was the Beatles. It was crazy.
It's like the Beatles.
They get
Yeah.
back of the amphitheater, close the door. They mic us up. We go out. Maybe there were 50,000. We're like 30,000 out in front of the amphitheater. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
And we walk out. They're screaming, and we're all looking at each other, going, "What the heck?" And
That's
Henry
great.
finally just goes, "Hey, forget about it. Forget about it." It was like you almost fainted from the decimals, man. I mean, like you. And I turned to Don. I go, "Hey, Don, what? I think we're gonna get lucky."
This is the night. We got the limo. Yeah. And he said,
No,
"You're right." No, I don't think so.
no.
That is funny. A couple of people mentioned the singing, that they love your voice too. And have you enjoyed that too? The singing. Here, look at this. We dug this up. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Can you excuse me one second? I'm going to have to get a charger and put it in my phone.
Oh, yeah.
The battery's low.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Excuse me 1 second.
Every guest has to do that, so that's normal. And everybody, yeah. There's the chair. Everybody wants to see the chair, right?
I'm looking for this charger.
He's looking for the charger. So there.
Now, I have the charger.
He's got the charger.
I'm going to plug it over here, and I'll move it around a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
It's a little extra. Oops, look at this.
No, it happens to all the guests. You don't know how many guests we have where we get to see the chair that they're sitting in, and it's becoming a running joke. And
Is that true?
I said we should do just a whole episode with just the chairs that the guests have sat in, all the funky, cool chairs, and it's
right.
Yeah, it's funny. You see, like they're even saying empty chair time. Yeah,
Here we go.
That's funny.
How's that?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, lighting is good. Everything is great. Good stuff. So you were mentioning the singing and having the opportunity to do that too, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, I did, and this is one of my first bad records, and it got on the charts a little bit. But yeah, I got a recording contract with Chelsea Records.
Yeah, that's amazing, right?
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, it was an amazing experience to just to do these state fairs and things like that. There's like so many people and.
Yeah, absolutely. They were saying it's pretty cool that, the John Lennon story as well. There were a couple of other questions that came in here in relation to the show. Well, of course, any plans for a Happy Days reunion?
Well, that kind of happened in Wisconsin. You know what we did for Wisconsin? First they did a whole thing of like a panel thing, where people were able to talk to us and ask questions. But then Ron, Henry, Donnie, me, and then these other wonderful talents read other parts. And we read Happy Day scripts. Decades later, we did Happy Days readings. And it was a reunion. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
But as far as another reunion, I don't know about a reunion. I don't, but
yeah,
they'll see. I'm sure we'll be together doing certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. You, I was mentioning too that you've had an opportunity to direct so many shows over the years as well. And the directing, I mean, some major shows that we're seeing too. You really have a love for the directing, huh?
Yeah, actually, with the directing and writing, I never felt limited there. In fact, that's where I've been the most comfortable. And I think, to me, it's just such a great time, and it's so much fun, especially when you get good material.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody said a Happy Days reboot. Would they ever consider doing that? I guess that would be kind of tough with Tom gone and Erin gone, maybe, or?
I don't think actually Donna and I were thinking of something.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of odd couple it where now we're we're older. We happen to be roommates, and then we have our kids who have, and this whole complex family situation. And maybe Cindy Williams is in charge of the apartment building. I don't know. There's a way to make it where you could have all these iconic guest people in and out.
Yeah.
Without the entire cast, but still maybe enough to echo the past. You couldn't duplicate the show. Ron. Henry,
no. Yeah.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But there could be a way to make it really enjoyable and creative and fun.
Yeah.
With who might want to do it. But yeah.
And the guest stars and all the people you've had an opportunity to meet along the way was absolutely extraordinary too, wasn't it, Anson?
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, saw Robin Williams skyrocket. What really got me was I remember growing up, watching the film where Ronald Reagan was the Gipper. Remember all that?
Yeah.
But Pat O'Brien was Pat O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
There was Pat O'Brien guesting one week on Happy Days. I was like, whoa, there's Hank Aaron guesting one week. I
was going to mention that we just lost him. Yeah.
That's a wonderful man. Danny Thomas guested. The original Howdy Doody was on with Buffalo Bob, and with the real Howdy Doody.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, it was like phenomenal. Some of the opportunity.
Yeah.
But even off the set, just being able to meet so many fabulous people and all walks of life. It's interesting that came on that set.
Unbelievable.
One day in the morning, this guy's singing, and it's Ringo Starr and Keith Moon. Wow. They were doing sextet. They were doing sextet with Mae West, right across the. There's Ringo and there's Keith Moon, and then Belushi and Aykroyd come down, and all these other guys. It was just nonstop, man.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, you and I think it's either Don, but I think it's Ron. You sort of teamed up, and you were able to work with sort of persuading the legendary Bette Davis to do a television movie when, of course, she comes from, Hollywood legend films, but to do a television movie and to work with her. Tell us about that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was the first film I exec produced, and I wrote the story. And I won't tell you what, something inspired it. I wrote the story. I talked to Ron about it. He loved it. We went to NBC, and they put it into development. And it deals with a disabled high school girl in a wheelchair who's forced to look up all the time because society makes her look up.
Yeah,
it's metaphorical.
Right.
And I thought, what if she could look down for the first time? What if everyone had to look up to her?
Yeah.
And what if she could learn to fly? So I created this whole story based around that. And so script came out beautifully, and all. And they said, okay, well, we want Melissa Sue Anderson for the part. Who's a wonderful actress.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, but can't we at least look for a disabled actress? Can we actually maybe find an unknown that really is disabled, and that would be incredibly inspiring for the world? And he goes, and he's going, but just business-wise, and we have a contract with Melissa, and we go, please. And Brandon Tartikoff was a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, listen, okay.
Head of NBC Entertainment. Yeah.
Is this older, retired stunt pilot lady who runs this little restaurant at this funky airport. You get me Bette Davis, you can have your girl. Well, that was like asking for the Pope to star in it.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, because at the time, what are you crazy?
Yeah.
So I'm looking. So Ron and I are going, well, guess it's just going to be, actress, Great, but we were kind of disappointed. But then I was watching Carson, and Bette Davis on Carson, and she goes, I can't, they do send me lady parts. I want something with action. action. I'm going, what's better than a stunt pilot lady? So we, Ron and I, with a wing and a prayer, we sent the script to her agent. And unbeknownst to us, Bette Davis doesn't trust anybody. She reads everything submitted. She read it and she said, yes. She goes, yeah, I'll do it. So
wow.
We got Bette Davis and we got Susie Gilstrap, who's the first disabled actress to ever work in a movie of the week in television history. And it became this huge hit. It was Year of the Disabled in America.
Yeah.
It was the year when Congress approved all the ramps and everything, so disabled could have access to sidewalks and crosswalks and all that. And they premiered the film at the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C. and Bette Davis made an appearance and became a big deal.
That's amazing.
And it all came out of just circumstance, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. And the other thing that was funny too, might inspire people. At the time, I was trying to get a movie of the week as an actor, like I don't know why, I wasn't even that good, but I'm like, I guess it's just because it's part of the deal. And I could not get arrested. It was easier for me to create a movie of the week and own it than get cast in one. Okay? So that was like a big lesson of, wait a minute, where am I putting my priorities here? Maybe I should switch over here and it might be a better choice.
Right. That is funny. But you did get on Love Boat.
Well, everyone got on Love Boat.
Everybody that time.
But you know, it's funny. I directed Robert Urich in a real wonderful movie that was for NBC called Perfect Little Neighborhood, Perfect Little Murder. And then later on, he became the captain on the Love Boat for the new Love Boat. The new Love Boat, right? And I was able to direct a lot of those. And we had so much fun doing that. I'd much rather direct Love Boat than be on Love Boat.
Yeah. Weren't you in a later reboot of The Odd Couple too?
Yeah. Well,
96-ish?
Yeah, when Garry Marshall passed away.
Yeah.
They did a tribute to him on The Odd Couple, and basically all his people, Kim Dauber, Penny Marshall, Cindy Williams, Ron Howard, me, Donnie, we all played these different characters. We all played these characters on The Odd Couple in honor of Garry. And that's for us, Donnie and I, we played different characters. We're in the bar, but they gave us the center booth of the bar. So and Pam Dauber was the waitress.
Right.
So it was really a very sweet, you know, kind of show honoring Garry.
Did you get to interact often with Penny Marshall?
What's that? With
Penny Marshall, did you get to interact with her a lot, Penny?
Yeah, I guest starred on Laverne and Shirley.
So when it was on, yeah.
Oh yeah, so we had a lot, and then Penny went on a lot of our baseball tours.
Yes.
She loved ball, man. She was a good player too.
Yes, right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And being the entrepreneur as well, you have created something which actually born out of this brilliant idea, the alert drops. Yep. And they're really, really amazing. There we have you holding one of them now. Tell us about the inspiration for this idea and the purpose of this and how they really can, in many ways, be life-saving for people.
Yeah, well, they have been life-saving, and I have to give all the credit to Dr. Heimlich. Because we've been close, you know. He's actually my second cousin, but I've called him uncle since I was born, since I knew him.
And to remind people, the creator of the Heimlich maneuver. I know many people in the first half hour were talking about how the Heimlich maneuver has been used so many times in our lives in ways that have been life-saving. That's extraordinary. So he was inspirational to you as well.
Oh, very, very much so. And what a legacy he has. I mean, do you want to be a Clark Gable or a big movie star, or do you want to be Dr. Heimlich? Right. Because he's saving lives every day. Yeah. As he lived. Every day, generations are saved. I go, that's a pretty good legacy. That's pretty good.
Right.
Pay forward. And that inspires me.
And that's your family name, Heimlich.
Huh?
That's your family name,
Anson Williams Heimlich.
Right.
And they changed it to Williams. You know, I did years before he got famous.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to switch it back. You know.
Right.
Anyway, way before I got in the product business, I was directing Slap Maxwell at the time.
Yeah.
And we were out in the desert. It was a very hot day. Driving back home, I fell asleep at the wheel. And I could have killed myself. I mean, it was very dangerous. Thank God it was okay. But scared me. And back then, Dr. Heimlich, when I told him about it, he said, Anson, have cut up lemons with you when you're going to be in an exhausted situation. And he explained when you bite into it, the citric acid and sour lemon hits the lingual nerve on top of your tongue, and the reflex reaction of the body's adrenaline. You're up, you're alert, nothing in your system. Just like going to the doctor and they test your reflexes, your arm, your legs. Same thing. The tongue and brain has reflex reaction, and it's adrenaline. And boop, you're up, you're alert, nothing in your system, nothing to screw up your sleep pattern, and it's instant. So I did that for years.
Yeah.
And then
and hot peppers do that too, right?
Yeah, but the problem with hot peppers is too much.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's the only other one.
It's just like
that can like make you crash.
Yeah.
So but anyway, I'm reading years later just how catastrophic drowsy driving is.
Yes.
I mean, it is more deaths, more tragedies than drunk or medicated combined.
Think of the truck drivers driving for hours too. And
mothers and kids dying. Mother, you cannot believe that it's a huge problem. It's not a little problem. You do all this thing about drunk driving. Well, there's twice as many getting killed with falling asleep at the wheel. You realize there's almost 200 million a year drowsy drivers. 1 out of 5 admit to falling asleep. Put those numbers together.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And we did it. So we saved so many lives. So I talked to Dr. Heimlich. I said, can we put together, it's here, a spray drop where you have citric acid, sour lemon, water, and you just go, just hit the tongue, hit the top of the tongue, hit the lingual nerve. You're awake, you're alive, get home safe. Don't fall asleep. And then we found out too, it's important for exhaustion. Exhaustion is a major problem in America. At work, kids studying all night for tests, drinking too much coffee, drinking these energy things, screwing up their system, screwing up their sleep patterns, getting sick. And just a little squirt of alert drops, which is a natural product, will do the trick and keep you up, keep you safe. There's no caffeine, there's no stimulants, there's no nothing. Because the Dr. Heimlich, and it's old, by the way, it's old science. It's a 50-year-old study at MIT. It's not, all we do is create a better scooter. And then we found out, and then we got honored by, believe it or not, we got honored by the United States Congress.
Yes.
We got honored by the California State Senate. We got LA Fire Department. But more than that, we have saved lives. And we also found out it's been amazing during this epidemic because people are getting what's called isolation fatigue.
Yes.
And they're eating too much sugar. And again, you got a little, oh boy.
Yeah.
A little of that, and you're up, and it kind of gets that away. You're up, you're alert, you're safe, and it stops bad habits. We donated thousands and thousands of these when they requested to the frontline workers that are risking their lives, saving our lives.
Yeah.
They were working so many long hours that Alert Drops has been a huge benefit, in terms of just staying alert, doing what they're doing. So if you go to alertdrops.com, that's Alert Drops, you can learn all about this. Really, it's not a greedy product. It's an important product. This is something everybody should have. This, every family.
And they're asking too.
It will save a life. Will bring people back safely.
Yeah.
Even if instead of having 82 cups of coffee in other areas, you're not going to ruin your health. It's a very important product. And I tell people, hey, if you don't want Alert Drops, then cut up lemons.
Mm-hmm.
Cut up lemons. It's a little sloppier, but cut up lemons, and that works too. I just care about spreading Dr. Heimlich's knowledge forward. Such a simple thing can stop such major tragedies. So, and this is probably the most important thing I've really been behind in my life, really, because I know it has saved lives. And even Dr. Heimlich said, this will save more lives than the maneuver, because there's a lot more people exhausted than choking.
Yes, right, exactly, right. And a lot of people are commenting too. Juanita watches from South Africa, and she's like, wow, what a great product. And Bobby Horowitz, who's a wonderful producer herself in New York City, you've been able to do so many major productions. Bravo to you. I'm so happy to hear and see Jim Masters communicating with you for us. She's performed in many off-Broadway productions, belong to theater companies. You are amazing to her, which is really, really nice to see. And yeah, they're all talking about the product. And again, it's alertdrops.com.
Yes.
Alert Drops in all caps. Thank you, Anson. Where can we buy them? Alertdrops.com. I could sure use those. Very nice product, all natural. Gary, who's watching in Iowa, says, is there a length of time that the spray lasts?
Yes.
To spray.
Well, everybody's different in terms of their body, but we found there's an average, like a spray or two, boom, boom, lasts 30 minutes to an hour.
That's perfect.
And then, and it's not meant for you to really, some people use it and they drive. We don't recommend that.
Yeah.
We recommend you're on your way someplace. So it gets you home safely, or it keeps you up safely as you're doing sledding. And if you need a little more, you take more. It's a lemon. It's a high-powered lemon. You take a little more. You can't overdose on this.
Right.
So because it's just like this. I mean, how can you overdose on getting the reflexes?
Right.
Exactly. All it is a reflex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've gotten together with some of your friends who are showing it. I see Marion Ross and Don Most and a variety of people here. And Alison Arngrim, who was Alison was on our show about a month ago. Alison Arngrim, she was wonderful. Yes. Great shot with the gang here. Who do we have?
Well, that's Lauren. Oh gosh.
Marion Ross.
Carolyn Hennesy, who won the Emmy for General Hospital.
Yes.
And we have Marion Ross and me, and oh God, and Barbara Streisand's sister, who's geez.
Oh, she's in the middle next to Don and you.
Yes, the best.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And then next to Don, next to Alison.
That's Carolyn Hennesy.
That's Carolyn Hennesy, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Alison. That's a great shot. And we've got another one too. There you are there.
That's the sheriffs and sheriffs and firemen and women in Las Virgenes area.
And so they're all using it as well because they have long beats and long shifts.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
As Don and Mrs. C.
Marion Ross.
Yeah. That is cool. That is fantastic. They too, you guys all look the same. You all look, everybody looks the same. It's fantastic.
We look pretty good after 46.
Yes.
Oh, this is all the
Donna Mills, Michelle Lee. Is that Joan Van Ark?
And Donna Mills.
That's the Knots Landing crew.
That's right. Knots Landing. You bet.
Yeah, Knots Landing crew.
Yeah.
Boy, the things that went on in that cul-de-sac.
I didn't get to direct that, darn it.
No, that would have been fun, right?
Yeah.
So there too as well. And here's another, we got another great shot here. There's with Henry Winkler and Ron Howard.
Yeah, that was a tribute to Garry Marshall. There was a big deal. And we all got together for that event.
So you've got Donnie Most there and Ron Howard, of course, Henry Winkler, Marion Ross, who everybody knows is Mrs. Cunningham, and Anson. Really, really cool. Nice. It's nice that everybody, stays in contact and communicates. And that's a beautiful thing, that's a beautiful thing. And I'm sure, when there's been different things in your lives, good, bad, and indifferent, you've supported each other through it all. And that's a beautiful thing too, because not everybody gets a chance to do that, right?
No, we've been friends for over 4 decades. Pretty nice.
Yeah. So what's the response been to Alert Drops? When I was first hearing about it, when we were setting up, having you come on as my guest on the show, it sounded really, really exciting because I know so many people. I actually have a friend who had been in an accident where he was coming home from work. He's fine. The other guy's fine, but he almost fell asleep at the wheel at a stop sign. You sort of stop. It's night. It's dark.
Yeah.
All it takes is 2 seconds. And then when he sort of stepped on the gas because he didn't think that the other guy that was coming was that close, it seemed in his blurry eyes that it was way far away, but he was a lot closer, and boom, they hit each other, and that, took care of both cars were totaled.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah. And so he said, mention to that story to Anson, because I can use some of those too.
Yes, you can. This would have stopped it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, and you're always thinking up things like that. You're so big with wanting to do things that make people's lives better, right? That's a cool thing about who you are as a person, right, Anson?
Well, that again, big, I guess, Willie Turner, Garry Marshall, and Dr. Heimlich. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and Ron Howard too. Well, actually, our guys too. I mean, every just a fabulous group of friends there on Happy Days. But I guess
yeah.
the major players though are really Willie and Garry Marshall and my uncle. Yeah.
And your kids, have they gone into the industry too?
No, not yet. They're
Yeah.
still. Actually, my daughter Hannah Williams she co-created Tasty for BuzzFeed.
Oh, wow.
And she's a huge influencer. And yeah, she's doing very well. And she does a lot of videos and kind of cool things, kind of hip, kind of like stuff I don't know about today. And and then my 22-year-old, she's getting her 4th degree black belt. And I think she's going to end up owning a karate studio, and really likes helping women learn to protect themselves.
That's cool.
And then and my other two, they're 18 and 19. They're in school. So, and my youngest one is in 9th grade. Yeah, the others are in college.
Have you ever thought of getting involved in community things, politics, or any of that yourself? Has that ever crossed paths with you at all?
People have actually through the years, people have asked me to run for office and things like that. I found I can do more as a citizen, than being stuck in that world. Because
all the constraints.
I've known a lot of people stuck in that world. And if I felt I could do a better job, maybe, but I think I can do. I think my time's better spent, helping them, and then having the freedom to maybe bring other things to the table.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, because there's all the constraints of politics where you can't necessarily do the things freely like you would like to. What are some things that are still on the Anson bucket list? Things, I mean, you've had an extraordinary career and you've given back. You're a wonderful philanthropist as well, and you've given back in droves and continue to. Things that you still have out there on the horizon on your own life's journey that you want to do, that you're either working on or want to work on, collaborate with somebody on?
Well, it's not. Well, number one is the health and direction and success of my kids. That's number one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's priority. Otherwise, I'm working on, lots of, not lots, but some really kind of exciting projects and things like that. Some are in development, some are ready to go into development, some will never get in development. I just like, it's just being creative and getting that goose, that it factor, moving forward with something, creating something, whether it's for entertainment or product or whatever. It's just nice just to keep moving forward and connecting to exciting things that can be completed. I mean, so it's not any one thing, it's a process thing of getting up and moving forward, whatever that might be.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I like the fact that you're open to whatever life's bringing your way. One of the things that it's done is the ability for you to be an author. And this book, Singing to a Bulldog, of course, plays off of what you were saying earlier about singing to a bulldog. Tell us about this book and what it was like writing this one.
Well, it's interesting. I had written a couple articles for Reader's Digest, and then they said, "Hey, this would be a book. This could be a book." It's basically, it's a tribute. It's paying Willie Turner's life lessons forward. It's putting everybody into talk room and getting the same opportunities I had speaking with this amazing man. Because I think if you read it, you'll be as inspired and maybe will put you on a path that you're destined to be on. And and there's all these incredible stories in it. Because I was a real Forrest Gump. You know, what am I doing here? I was literally kidnapped by the President of the United States' daughter in the White House. Kidnapped to go to a Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes concert.
Wow.
Meeting Elvis in a parking lot in Monroe, Louisiana. I mean, just all these crazy stories. But each story has a callback to the talk room.
Right.
There's something bigger than the story. Something that offers the reader something for their life.
Yeah.
Not just me, but that's fun. That's the meat and potatoes of the book are really this fun kind of cool story, like I told you about the Oval Office.
Yeah.
But it relates to something bigger and more important for everybody's life, and that comes to Willie Turner. So it's a way to pay back Willie, and hopefully, you know, this book will be there somewhere somehow, and who knows when. It's going to inspire some other kid. It's going to inspire someone else to do something great, to move forward, maybe in a way they wouldn't have if they hadn't read it.
That's beautifully said. What are some of the things in your life today that still, you know, bring you great blessing and joy to give you this fortitude to continue to create and want to communicate and, you know, inspire people continually like you've done a good part of your life, Anson, through all of your work on and off the screen?
Yeah. It's just in you, you know.
Yeah.
And actually what inspires me are people. It's other people's lives. It's like just connecting to, you know, I hear about, and I think, well, God, that's a great story. That should be paid forward. And I just love anything that needs to be paid forward, because it's bigger than us.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and if you have a platform to be able to like share that and, you know, and maybe move people to a better place. Yeah. That's what I'm about. That's what it's about. It's not, you know, it's more like being open, connected, and just one thing you should never be in life. The big problem in our world, our country today, is the one word: greed. Greed will kill you.
Yeah.
And we should be a much more selfless society, really. And even in business, you know, you talk at the same time. I don't believe in, you know, forcing companies to where companies are fighting to pay better wages and pay, because those kind of characters, they'll find every way not to do it.
Right.
I said nothing's going to change till character changes. The character of business has to change. They on their own have to connect. I got to do the right thing. You know, I have this extra $10. I really don't, and I'm going to I'm going to help people with this. I'm not lessening my life. I'm not lessening my opportunity, but I'm helping other people's opportunity. That's what has to happen in this country, man. The character has to change, not rules, not right. The character, doing the right thing. That's what's got to become paramount, you know, and right up front.
Anson Williams for office. From your mouth to God's ears, huh? Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this was amazing, Anson, and I can't believe we've chatted for almost 2 hours here. This is,
oh my God.
It didn't feel like it, did it?
No.
It never does. Everybody says it just never does. We try to make it a warm and comfortable atmosphere. A couple people did ask, was there any particular episode or two, obviously, of Happy Days that really are some of your personal favorites?
My favorite is the one with Don Most when he wrecked Fonzie's motorcycle. That was hysterical.
Yeah.
That was hysterical. That was my number one favorite. And my number two favorite was the one where I was able to sing "Put Your Head on My Shoulder" to Joanie.
Yeah.
And I think that was the highest rated Happy Days. Simply because it resonated with people. It resonated with me. That's why I picked the song. That, you know, young love. And I mean, there's just something so heartfelt, innocent, and beautiful, and, you know, and caring. I don't know. There was an it factor to that episode that it affected me a lot.
Yeah.
And I know it affected, you know, a lot of fans who watched it. So, but that felt very good, because I do think I love shows which makes, when they see it, they feel closer to their own loved ones.
Yeah.
You know, I love it when it echoes to their own families.
Right.
You know, and maybe opens them up to maybe give that extra hug.
Beautifully said. And that show had such a great storyline to it with all the fun and even some of the shenanigans. It always
Yeah.
had a great, and there is something about, and I've said it often, even working in television, that there's something about those shows from even the 50s, 60s, 70s up to 80s, 90s, where there was always sort of there was always a moral. There was always a lesson. There was
Yeah.
always something through all the antics and everything that went on, even all the way back to I Love Lucy. There was always something that is so relatable that no matter what the decade, what is going on in our lives, you can watch these shows, still feel good. Dick Van Dyke Show, all of them. Watch these shows and connect with them and say, "My God, that happened to me last week," or "Yeah, that's happening to us right now."
Yeah.
And there was a moral, there was a certain,
Yeah.
are we missing that today, or how would you describe things today
Well,
versus that?
I think it's hit and miss today.
Yeah.
It's so there's so much out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there are shows. There's those that have it, those that don't. It's when you were talking, what you're talking about, there were 3 networks.
True. Right.
It's very simple. And and Garry by the way, Garry Marshall would every one of those shows.
Yeah.
Okay. I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, and Happy Days. Yeah, and there was a little morality, and because that's just human. He understood human nature.
Yes.
And there's just certain values, certain ways to live your life that don't change.
Right.
It's just part of being a human being. It's in our DNA, man.
Right.
It's always hip.
Yeah.
There's different ways to express it, but it's always pretty basic. I just think today there's just so much noise, and all of us have a light side and a dark side, and we do, and we can be sold either way. The dark side's easier to sell. The light side's harder. And there's a lot of dark these days. There's just an overabundance of dark in the news, in shows, and it's an inquired state of mind. It's kind of a I gotcha state. Instead of I have you, I gotcha. And I think that's why, you're wondering, are those shows or those little morals still there?
It's like people are craving them or something. They're watching all of the. Yeah.
I mean, we need it, but we're so buried with so much that isn't.
Right.
That you really have to take the time to find it. I think that's one reason why Happy Days has this resurgence.
Yeah.
And these others, it's like there's something there's something there was something missing, and they find it in these old shows.
And these networks like Cozy TV, Antenna TV, and all of those networks that are re-airing all of the older classic shows that people are loving.
They need it. They need it. People need to be comforted. They go, that connection. That's what I really feel. That's what I want to feel. Oh my God, I haven't been feeling it because I haven't connected to it.
Exactly.
We only know what we read and see. That's And we need it. We need to bring it up front.
What were some of it's kind of like a question I'd ask somebody that's a musician who plays their certain genre of music. What were some of the shows, growing up as you were on Happy Days and even past Happy Days that you've always enjoyed?
Gosh,
Twilight Zone.
It's funny. I was never really a huge television watcher.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really a regular watcher during Happy Days.
It's kind of like we're working in a pizza place. Everybody thinks that somebody that works in a pizza place eats pizza all the time, but not necessarily, right?
Oh God, I remember when I was working at an Orange Julius stand. Across the street was the Mambo. They were so sick of their food, and I was so sick of our food. We would trade.
Yeah.
They got hamburgers and Orange Julius. I got chicken.
Any shows or anything that you would love to have been a part of? Gee, it would have been cool to have been on that series or that one. In addition, of course, to Happy Days, but any others that you always admired? Besides movie of the week.
But I never look at what I don't have again. I look at what I have.
I like that.
I look at what I have. I don't. Everyone has their disappointments. Everyone has it's how you handle it.
Exactly.
And I always go back to what I have. I'm not going to like drown in what I don't.
Count the blessings, right? Count the blessings.
I'm telling you, man.
And there are many.
Life's a short ride.
Yes.
And the next ride, I'm sure there is one. We'll figure out. We'll definitely know where it is when. But in the meantime, embrace what you have. Stop worrying about what you don't have.
That's
it's not
right.
Productive.
That's right.
It's not productive, man. It's going to stop you from having.
Right. What would you say to somebody watching live right now who will watch this later, Anson, who's considering going into, this line of work, whether it's acting, directing, just going into the field of entertainment? Any advice as somebody who has been inspired by others and mentored by others? What would you say to others? And do you do any teaching at all? Teaching others coming up the ranks?
A lot of times I do talks at UCLA when we could. And Pepperdine, wherever I can, I love doing talks, and especially at schools and all that.
Yeah.
When I you get show business, it's better than anybody what a tough road it is. You better be. It can't be from ego, and it can't be. Oh, I want to be famous. I want to be rich. You'll fail. You'll be done. It's got to be. I just got this. You've got to have something to offer in it. You got to damn well know you have something to offer. Whether it's acting, writing, directing, you better know you have something to offer, and you better be willing to sacrifice a lot to earn it. You earn it, and so it better be in you. If it's not in you, don't stop it. Stop it. If ego's driving you, and not the heart of a storyteller, forget it. Don't do it.
Right. Right.
Because if you have the heart of a storyteller, you'll have the courage and the strength to work through all the negatives and make it. If you don't, it's going to be a dismal failure, and you're going to be wasting a lot of years of your life.
That's the running theme. That's what everybody has said. That's really it. You have to love it, and you have to live it and breathe it, because there's so much blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice and rejection and all the things that come in. And it isn't that you just all of a sudden, walk in and everybody's catering to you and it's all glitz and glamour. There's a lot of, behind the scenes stuff that can really take people down quickly. And so what do you think, what is it, what's inside you that's gotten you to always be able to, stay above the fray and just keep moving forward with all of the things that swirl around? You've been able to have a path that, create a family, do all the things, still be in the business. It's very inspiring for others.
Well, like I said, I think it actually was beneficial to grow up with not a lot. I always had to be self-sufficient. I always had to make it work. I never had, there was never a trust fund. There was never anything. So I don't know. It's just, it's just making things work, moving forward. It's just part of who I am. It's just, I've always done it.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And you found a way. You've always found a way to, if there's a roadblock, well, let's try to build a bridge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you some of the great, they've already said you're a Loveity now. Welcome to the Loveity family.
Okay.
So you're a Loveity, Anson. Really nice to see her, Anson. Kathleen in New York City. Welcome to the Loveity family. Mary says she's in Florida. It's wonderful to have you here, Anson. Stay positive and kind. Renee in Iowa, how old were you when you started on Happy Days? Here's
as young as I could get.
Yeah, exactly. Gary, who's watching in Iowa, says, Anson, thank you for spending the evening with us. Bobby Horowitz, New York City, thank you for the wonderful show. Juanita, where it's really late in South Africa, says, thank you for your time and sharing your amazing stories with us, Anson. Jennifer Barry in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Anson, thank you for spending time with us. Love you. Jen is Zen. Linda Odell in St. Augustine, Florida, says, thank you, Anson, for sharing all your stories with us, Loveities. Remember, you are a Loveity now. Please come back to the show. The door is always open, Anson. You can come back anytime you want to chat about anything. Renee in Iowa says, thanks for joining us tonight, Anson, and sharing your life with us. Sherry, she online says, thank you so much for coming to Loveity Hall tonight, Anson. It was wonderful to meet you. Please come back again soon. Tess Labella says, thank you, Anson. She's a wonderful actress and comedian and voice artist in Florida. Thank you, Anson. What a pleasure to listen to your stories and getting to know you. You are amazing, and I wish you nothing but happiness and continued success. You are a lovety now. And thank you, Jim, for another wonderful show and truly bringing back the art of conversation. Such a wonderful evening. Much love, Tess. Thank you, Tess. Bernadette says, such a pleasure to hear your stories, Anson. Stay safe and stay well. Joey says, thank you for being here, Anson. Lots of times we don't know what actors do past the run of a show. It's good to know how kind and honest you are and what you are doing. Kudos to you. From Joey. Loved your stories. Thank you again for being here in Levity Hall. Kathy Short in Cleveland, Ohio. Thanks, Anson, for going down memory lane with us. Christine Clifton in North Carolina. Thanks for sharing so many fascinating stories of your career, your life. You're an inspiration, and your positivity is contagious. We could not need this more. You're a true levity. And thanks. And thanks also for sharing so many fascinating stories of your life. Lots of levity coming your way from the viewers too, my friend.
Feels good.
It's good stuff, right?
Thank you so much.
Job done well, that's for sure.
Oh.
Well, this was really a pleasure, and I toast you. Cheers. I don't know if you still have
Cheers.
there you go. Cheers. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you here, and thanks for spending the amount of time with us and sharing your stories and memories, but also a little bit more about, you know, some of the things that inspire you and where you've gotten the inspiration, and telling us about some of the cool fun facts about Happy Days and all the other things you've had an opportunity to work on, directing, and so much more.
Okay.
I hope the show has met your expectations and you enjoyed your time with me as much as I definitely have with you, Anson.
Oh, had a great time, and absolutely we have to do it again. So
it would be a real
stories.
A lot more stories. So stay tuned, folks. Hang on to your levity. Somebody else who was joining us who loved it as well was George Burns.
I love George.
With the cigar and all.
Yes.
Did you ever meet him at all at a
I did
gathering?
meet George Burns. Yes.
You did?
Yeah. And Jack Benny.
Any quick stories with them at all?
No, I just met them. Yeah.
Just nice guys and real legends, huh?
Next time I got some legend stories.
There's your teaser about the legends, folks. Tina says, thank you, Anson, for sharing your stories and memories with us. I thoroughly enjoyed this evening. And Kathleen Walker in New York City, loved hearing all your stories. I was hoping you'd sing a little. Just put your head on my shoulder. Stay tuned. He'll be back. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a shining star in these dark days, Anson. You are amazing. That's a good one to wrap on. I don't know if you can top that one, my friend.
No, thank you.
Oh,
well, everybody, stay safe.
You
stay
too.
Positive. You know, believe me, this will turn around. And it's up to us to turn it around right here. Turn it around. We have a lot of good going for us. Let's focus on that
together. Like I said, yeah.
And not, and not what's, and not the negative. That's this time next year will be a whole different story, man.
Absolutely. Like I said, I hope we rise from the ashes more empathetic, compassionate.
There's no hope. No hope. I don't like. We will. We will rise.
That's good. That's definitive. That's definitive. Would love it. Please come back soon. Joey says, Sharon Blackmar, really enjoyed the interview. Thank you, Anson. A lot of fun hearing the stories. Today is a happy day, happy night. So you continue to spread happy days long after your show. Thank you, Anson. And Joey says, same to you. Stay safe, stay well, and stay positive. Thanks for being with us, my friend. This was really, really a delight. You do stay well. The best to you and your family. Let's stay in touch. I'd love to do that. And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
You too. Now go stretch those legs. That's what I tell everybody. Bye-bye now. That was fantastic, wasn't it? Anson Williams, yes, who you know from so many great shows. Most notably, of course, Happy Days. He was awesome to have on the show. And for those of you who like to see the chairs, you got a chance to actually see his chair as well. And somebody said that his chair, when he had to get up and I think he had to adjust the, he had to get a charger, right? He had to charge his phone. He said it was raining there too. He had a little bit of a computer malfunction, so that's why we started our show about a half hour late. I was deciding, should we start it? Should we reschedule it? What should we do? I said, you know what? We did a chat with all of you. Those of you who came on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we were here. So we just did an online chat. And one of the fun facts was that Anson Williams, he calls him uncle, of course, second cousin, Dr. Henry Heimlich was the creator of the Heimlich maneuver, which helps with saving a lot of lives. But what a great opportunity to learn more about somebody who you've probably enjoyed watching on television for years and in film and so many other productions. Maybe you didn't know he's had this illustrious and continues to have this illustrious directing career as well. He is an award-winning and brilliant director, and these are just some of many, many, many projects and productions he's had an opportunity to work on, even Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place and so much more. But of course, you guys know and love him from Happy Days. There he is with Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, Don Most, Donnie, and really, really cool. Some great photos we had an opportunity to look at through the years. And he opened up, too, about some amazing stories behind the scenes of Happy Days and what it's like working, the long hours and putting it all in there. And there he is Potsie Weber, Warren Potsie Weber. And again, with Marion Ross, who played Mrs. Cunningham, and Henry Winkler, the Fonz, and of course, incredible Ron Howard, who, of course, you remember as Opie originally on the Andy Griffith Show. And Donnie Most, too, is fantastic. And, of course, we showed you this photo earlier. There's Joan Van Ark and Michelle Lee and Donna Mills, who all are legendary actresses who were in Knots Landing. They're all holding that alert drops, which really is ingenious, isn't it? Isn't that really cool? You can get that at alertdrops.com. I think somebody said they saw it in Walmart too. If that's the case, that's fantastic. And then again, the police force, the fire departments coming together in celebration. They're recently honored as well for this creation of the alert drops. He's always thinking of something new. He's always thinking of a way to create different things. And there's the alert drops as well. He was showing in his home. And there he is again with Marion Ross and Donnie Most, two of his great colleagues from Happy Days. And again, even more friends here too as well. You can see on the left, Alison Arngrim, who was Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. If you may remember, she was a guest on the Jim Masters Show Live a few weeks back. She was terrific. Those of you who like the television stars, Alison Arngrim was on the show from Little House on the Prairie. Of course, if you'd like to see this episode again with actor, director, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and Happy Days star Anson Williams, you can see this entire episode on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. We've also had episodes with Kathy Garver, who starred as Sissy in the CBS series Family Affair. As well, Scott Schwartz was with us, who was in the movies The Toy and A Christmas Story as well. And Stan Livingston was with us. Stan Livingston, of course, who played Chip Douglas in the beloved series My Three Sons as well. They've all been here on the show. And Dreama Denver, wife of Bob Denver, who was that character right there. Remember, she sent us this Gilligan doll, the bobblehead. She was a guest on the show and she said, Jim, you're missing something on the set. I said, what are we missing? She said, there's Gilligan. You're missing Gilligan. So wonderful Dreama Denver, who was a guest on our show. Who's going to be a guest on our show again real soon, too. She's going to come back on the show. Kathy Garver's coming back on the show. Actor Sean Kanan, who was in General Hospital and a lot of other terrific soap operas and movies and shows. He is going to be updating us on some new projects. He's coming up real soon. There's the I Dream of Genie bottle. I know you guys always look for the Genie bottle. It's right there. There it is. You guys look for it all the time. And of course, George Burns is here too. You got to have fun. And as Anson said so beautifully, be positive and be definitive and keep going forward. No matter what happens in your life, just keep going forward. And that's what's great about this Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, because we have guests from all walks of life, all different backgrounds and levels of success. And everything that we do tends to have a positive inspirational bent, which I think is really cool. And all the levity too that has developed out of all of this. It's just cool stuff. You know, we could really use more of that in the world, right? Absolutely. So you got a chance to meet Anson Williams from Happy Days here on the Jim Masters Show live, and really, really cool stories that he shared with us about the folks who in his life, like Willie Turner, who was very, very instrumental and very, very mentoring for him. We all have people like that in our lives if we're lucky, and it's really important to have people like that. I also want to let you know that we have another amazing actor joining us tomorrow on the show. Those of you who are fans of Days of Our Lives and One Life to Live and many other soap operas, as well as a lot of movies, TV shows, Friday the 13th. Kevin Spurtas is going to be with us tomorrow live. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So, yes, is it Dr. Chamberlain? I think he played for years on Days of Our Lives. He's going to be here, and he was in One Life to Live and so many shows. He's here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sterling Meyer is going to be with us on Friday. She is a wonderful author. She's also a life coach. She's here Friday live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The brilliant Broadway star, singer extraordinaire, beautiful voice, and a wonderful talent. Nikenje is going to be here live on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. She is a ray of energy, a ray of light. She's a dear friend. Nikenje is all excited. She's going to be here this Saturday live. She's going to perform live. It's going to be amazing. Those of you who have asked about Brian Dunphy, yes, from the High Kings. He's going to be with us live from Ireland on February 13th, Saturday, February 13th. She's going to be joining us. Originally from Celtic Woman, Lynn Hillary, brilliant singer, songwriter, musician, also a teacher in Ireland too. She's going to be with us. She's a dear friend. She's going to be with us on February 6th. That's a week from this Saturday. She's going to be with us live on the Jim Masters Show Live. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern here on the show. And lots of folks watching. Good show tonight. Good night from Michigan. Thank you very much, Sharon. Those of you watching on YouTube, we would love it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know many of you have, and we thank you so very much for doing that. That allows us to continue to bring you the great episodes and content and series episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live. If you want to see this episode again, gang, you can easily do that. All right there for you. You can see it 24/7 on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. We have over 245 daily episodes of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, where we're bringing back the lost art of conversation, old school style with the modern twist of today. And it's really, really cool. And really great show today. Really great show. Does anyone come up to you and yell out to you and say, "Hi, Potsie"? You know, that's a good question. I imagine they probably do. They probably do. This was such a fantastic show and great conversation. Anson sure does fit right in here with Levity Hall with such positivity and love he shares. Another uplifting show, Jim. Thanks, Christine. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And Renee in Iowa, who's buried in snow. I hope you made it in glue and a couple of snowmen. You have a great show and guest, Jim. Thank you very much, Renee. Again, that's what I love about this, is the fact that I like to have variety. So we don't have the same themes, the same types of guests, the same old every single day. You'd watch us and it's just the same thing every day. I mean, the format's the same. The ideas are some of the same, but we sprinkle in a lot of different stuff. It's life. It's variety. It's life. So whether it's somebody from music or television or film or an author or somebody who we had a naturalist writer on the show. We've had scientists and doctors, health and wellness and food and comedians on the show and artists. And the show is, again, a talk show sprinkled with entertainment and lifestyle segments. So that's what we've turned this into, like the traditional talk shows. And I love it. It's great. And I love it too, because I'm hosting it. So it's exciting to do different things with this show every day and not have it just be me saying the same words or doing the same thing every day. I like the variety of it. More snow on Saturday. Yes, we're going to get that Sunday into Monday and Tuesday. I think there's a big storm coming from what I heard. Stay warm in Iowa. Your shows never get old. Always something spectacular. Thank you, Tess. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Joey says, good night, one and all lovelies. Stay well and safe. This has been an awesome show. Thanks, Jim. Joey, thank you. And tell all your friends about our show. And thanks to everybody who enjoyed watching yesterday when our wonderful guest live from Sydney, Australia, the brilliant Irish singer and songwriter, Rebecca Harkin, was on our show. She's just fantastic. And she's the sister of Keith Harkin originally from Celtic Thunder. I heard from her parents, her mom and dad, and they loved the show as well. And so much feedback. It was really, really terrific. Kathy Short in Cleveland. Good night, Jim. This show was so much fun. See you tomorrow. My pleasure. My pleasure. More snow on the way. Irish 43 says, good night and God bless everyone. Good way to end it. Thank you, Irish 43. You too. You too. Bernadette says, glad more folks are showing up to view your shows, Jim. Thank you very much. Spread the word. Keep spreading the word. We're here pounding them out, hosting, producing them, creating them. There's a lot of work because we don't do this as a stream or a podcast. We actually do the level of work we do behind the scenes as if this is a television show, which you think we would have a staff of about 50 people. Not the case. So it's amazing what happens. So thank you very much. Jim, you're the best. We all love you for taking this time with us. Good night, friend. Tess, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Soraya Anson is gone, but I'll write to him. I'm sure we're going to stay in contact. I'm sure people come up to him and say, hey, Potsie. That happens a lot to a lot of performers. But looking back at some of the comments, you do have some of the seasons of Happy Days on DVD. That's fantastic. Enjoy them. Great show tonight, Mr. Loverty. Good night, Mr. Loverty. Good night, Loverty. Stay safe. Stay healthy. You as well. Sherry says, another wonderful show. Good night, Jim and Loverty. Sleep well and take care. You too. You too. Spread the word about our show so more people will join us. So a lot of people comment. You all love to comment, and I love that. Our regular faithful Loverties. There's a lot of people who watch as well quietly who don't comment, which is perfectly fine as long as everybody enjoys the show and tunes in and spreads the word about our series. That's perfect. A lot of people watch later too, when they can see it later on in the archives on YouTube. I think that's great. Good night to you, Mary Bishop and Gary. I will have to buy some alert drops. Isn't that cool? He was telling me about that before we went on the air. I knew about it for a couple of weeks. Anson was scheduled to come on our show before Christmas, actually. Well, he was scheduled to be on today, but we booked him prior to Christmas. So when I was putting all the materials together, the photos and all of it, I had heard about the alert drops. Really cool stuff. Alertdrops.com is the website. Great show. Thanks, Jim. Good night, everyone. Juanita. And thanks for sticking with us. We did start the show a little bit late. It was raining there, and there was a little bit of a leak that started to happen in Anson's house. So not only was there a computer issue with his computer, but there was a leak starting in the roof. So he had to tend to that because tremendous rain was happening. So he had a lot going on right around 7 o'clock. So what I did was we sort of held the show back. And what I have to do in order to do that is I have to manually go into our system to override the time our show is scheduled to make sure that it doesn't kick us off. So it doesn't just go away. So it was sort of updating it as we were going along. And then we were chatting on the phone and said, let's do 7:30. give him time to tend to those things that were sort of breaking news in the house. And I'm glad you guys stuck around. I'm glad. That's why I was chatting with you during. It was sad to hear Cloris Leachman, veteran actress Cloris Leachman, passed away. So that's Hank Aaron, Larry King, and Cloris Leachman in just a matter of a week. She was 94. She, of course, played Phyllis on Mary Tyler Moore, and she had her own series, Phyllis on CBS, and many, many, many more shows and movies, and so much more. So much more. And Betty White's going to be, I think, 99 now. You have a good night, Juanita, in South Africa. And Ann Wozniak says, love hearing Anson's stories and memories. Good night, Jim and everyone. It was an awesome evening. Perfect. I love when you guys express how much you enjoy the shows. That lets me know that all the work that we put into it is paying off and you're enjoying it. So spread the word. Tell everybody. Get some flyers out. Put billboards on the highway. Wait, that's our job. But feel free to, in your chat groups or what have you, tell everybody about the Jim Mouser Show live. Have a great night. Good night, all. Stay safe. You too, Kathleen. You be well. I hope you're feeling better as well. I sent you a message. Hopefully you got it. Great show, Jim. Thank you, Kathleen. Bernadette says, good night, Jim and everyone. Thank you, Jim. Everyone stay safe, stay well. God bless you, Anson, as well. He's got a great spirit, doesn't he? Good stuff. Good stuff. You guys are terrific. And thanks to everybody. Sharon, thank you very much as well. Really enjoyed the interview. Thank you, Anson. A lot of fun hearing the stories. Yeah, some really cool stories he shared with us, right? Some behind the scenes, but also you got a chance to learn something a little bit more about somebody that maybe you've always admired. We tend to do that a lot on our show, huh? We go a little deep. And Maureen says there's just no better way to end the day than spending time at Lovely Hall. Good night and sweet dreams, everyone. Thank you, Maureen. I love hearing that. Karen Campbell Green in Nova Scotia says, thank you, Jim, for another great show. Night, night, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Christine Clifton. Good night, Jim. Lovely friends. Cast of characters. Great show. Everyone stay safe. For those with winter weather, be careful. Even North Carolina is getting snow tonight. Lovely. We love the pre-show chit-chat. That was cool, right? That was cool. We chatted. For those of you who joined us late, we chatted. The show was supposed to start at 7 p.m., but again, there were some things that Anson had to take care of with his computer and a leak and different things that happened. So we shifted the show to 7:30-ish, and I chatted with all the viewers, typing away, posting, and we were chatting back and forth, which was a lot of fun, wasn't it? We're going to have to do some more host chat shows, and I am planning some for February. We've got a couple of days there where we'll do that. And Karen says, I will definitely be buying those alert drops, especially for when I do the 5-hour drive to visit my daughter. We love having the chats. Relax and rest well. That's the key. You got it. Relax. Don't forget, everybody, where we say here on the Jim Mouser Show Live, to relax, take care of one another, love one another, and love yourself. It's really, really important to make sure you love yourself. Anson was very spirited as far as saying, not hope, but believe. And that's a great way to be, because life is short and life is not a guarantee. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. So while you have the time and the energy and we're all here, relax, enjoy, and savor every moment. Some great stories that Anson Williams shared with us, behind the scenes that were great moments that he savored while on set and while with the crew and so much more. And that's what it's all about. You guys want a foodie show? You want a chat show? We love the chats. Perfect. Your wish is my command. And of course, as we always say here on the Jim Mouser Show Live, again, great guests coming up. Kevin Spirthus, soap opera actor, film actor, and more here tomorrow. We'll see you then. Don't forget to smile and share the smile. That's contagious. Don't forget to share the levity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. I love the ocean, living here in the Northeastern United States, living along the coast. They got to drag me out of the ocean. There was one time I was in the Atlantic Ocean swimming, and I was with family in Florida, and it started raining, I guess. And they're like, Jim, okay, we're going. I'm like, why are we leaving? They said, because it's starting to rain. And I said, but why does that matter? I'm already wet. I'm in the ocean. Of course, they were concerned that it would be lightning next. So anyway, I love the ocean. And of course, my work in television and radio and film and multimedia all these years and all the different scenarios has been just tremendous and continues to be as well. So we thank our very special guest, Anson Williams, wonderful actor, director, philanthropist, entrepreneur extraordinaire, and of course, Happy Days star, for joining us here for a nice conversation, almost 2 hours exclusively on the Jim Masters Show Live. We appreciate all of his time. He's a good guy, and we hope to have him back on the show. And you guys are great. You're the best. Love you all. You take care. You be well. You have a good night. Stay well. Stay healthy. And we'll be back here tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show Live. All right. We'll see you then. Don't forget, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Of course, we're on YouTube, all at Jim Masters TV. So we'll see you in all those suspect places as well. Good night, gang. Love you all. Be well. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.